My name's Calvin Waite, and I trade Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for a living. Today I wanted to kind of thank all of you for supporting my channel and commenting, and a lot of you say very nice things, and I really appreciate that. The one thing I do is I really look at the comments, and I like to look for coins that you guys are interested in. And over the past week or so, I've been keeping track of coins that people have requested for me to take a look at. So today I figured I'd go through a bunch and see if there is anything that I can point out or anything that I can help that will give you guys a little assistance in your trading. So the first coin is XRP. And XRP, this is the weekly chart, and I've just drawn these two supports that were initially important, and especially this bottom line, it had support, and it also functioned as resistance, and then it became support again. And so probably this single line here is probably the most important line for XRP, and it came back into play back in mid 2019, and then beginning of 2020 we've been doing this. Now most recently we got rejected from this line, but there are some really good things that are happening. Normally this red zone is generally bad news because all the trends are sloping the wrong direction, and everything's, this can be a sell-off. But what I do like is this 21-week moving average, where it was support, and then especially something that's important, like a big support, it takes a big move to break it. So see how this was resistance, and it took this giant move to break through it. And then when we gently touch it, it's kind of an indicator that there's going to be a change in direction. But so again here, where we touched it, it became support, and then when we fell through it, it took a huge candle to get us back through. So any of these larger candles, it shows that it took a lot of effort to get to the other side and flip that support to resistance. So this large candle dropped it, which made this 21 flip to resistance. And as we had a squeeze here, the 21 week won the battle. So there was a lot of struggle, and then it failed. When it fails, it has a hard time breaking. So we've been rejected here. But do you notice this candle? It was actually quite large. And the neat thing about that is that this large push bumped us up through the 21-week moving average. Even though we got rejected off of this line, guess what the 21-week moving average has done? It has provided us support. The longer we last above a moving average, the more that moving average will flatten out and eventually start trending upwards. So this is positive. If I flip to the daily, you'll notice that here was our bottom. We had a push here. We flipped the 50-day moving average to support, and then we took off and we made it briefly above this long-term resistance line. And then as we have kind of struggled down, we are, the things that I am watching for is there a place where this finally turns? You can tell that we're in a channel. Both the bottom and the top are fairly symmetrical, and we're just kind of trailing down. What we're looking for is we are looking for a higher high and a higher low. So where will this flip? If we can get a higher high and then establish a point of higher support above this, then we will have successfully shown the market that XRP is ready to turn that corner. One other thing that I wanted to point out is that if we connect this bottom with this bottom, look what we have. See how our change, our most recent day and a half, has touched this line and found support there. So that is very curious. So I don't expect that it'll be very much longer and XRP will turn around. And the funny thing is when we see it start, everyone will jump on the bandwagon because it's so talked about. So once it hits news and things, people get excited. So that is XRP. The other coin somebody wanted me to take a look at is THETA. And if you look at THETA, this thing has been on an absolute tear. This would have been an incredible trade. If we had entered at the end of the red zone, this would have just been, a 6x return. Of course, you'd have had the guts to make it through this section. And personally, I would not have made it through this. I would have sold somewhere in here. Whenever I start seeing like 50% days, I exit like crazy. So those that have stuck to it, when we did this big curve and retouched the support here, and then created a higher support above this, it was pretty. I mean, this is a very beautiful cup and handle chart formation. And I think I did a video when we were like right in here, and I said, man, we're gonna break above this and we're gonna see a beautiful run. And just so you know how these cup and handles work, it's the distance between here, the bottom of the cup, to the line that dictates the move above here. So it would be here to whatever that same distance would be. So this could still run. The structure is very strong, and we stay in this green zone until we drop below the 50, and look how far away the 50 is. We have a ways to go. One thing to caution is that if this was the end of the day, so we have 3.5 hours worth of the day in today's trading. After a huge run like this, we start watching for momentum change indicators. And I don't know if you know what this is. This is a gravestone doji. This is usually these types of candles signal tops. So just be aware. If you have a huge position, it may not be a bad idea to take some profits here. But that's kind of the only thing. Everything else looks very strong. We have good solid support. We had a beautiful handoff of this support and this resistance. And then when we had this handoff, we had beautiful resistance flipping to support. Here's our top. When we came up through the line, we came down and found support on the line. Like this is classic. Like this is so beautiful. So even if we do find resistance, it doesn't mean that there's a full change, because our momentum line here is angled this way. We have a fast rise line forming here. And so as we increase momentum and tempo, it's likely that we can hit our target. So that's THETA. It's looking pretty good. I mean, congrats to those that are trading and holding on to that. The next coin I've been looking at is ZIL. This is something that people have asked me to take a look at. And so this is our first look at ZIL. So at first glance, I can tell that there are a couple of obvious supports that flip to resistance. So I'll put these on here for future reference. And here's another support line. This would have normally been, we would have expected this to come into play at some point. So I'll just mark it on. And so from here, we can see that it slowed us, but this move was so momentous that there was so much energy and so much emotion in this move here that it didn't care that there was resistance here. Only after we turned the corner and moved down did the kind of the sensibilities come back into play, and people see this line as a serious line to reckon with. The challenge is that now that we've been down here and created this fabulous consolidation around 62, 70, somewhere in here, and then we launched to like 300. This move has so much energy and so much push that it's going to take a lot of effort to turn this boat around, because the people that are losing money are the ones that are causing these sell-offs. The people that bought in here, they're loving life. They have nothing to fear. So you have a mix of people that got in at the top, getting scared and selling off, and you have your long-term holders that are like, hey guys, why are we panicking? So let's take a look at the daily, and we'll take a look at this move. So entrance would have been at 64. We would not have exited after this green zone because we're not here to make 10%. We're here to make more than that. Our typical exit would have been around 203, which would have made this a pretty spectacular trade. But when does this turn around? That's a tough question, because we're kind of trading in no man's land. We dropped so hard and so fast that we did not create any resistance points. So there are no points between here and here that give us any guidance as to where this is headed. We can look at moving averages. We've crossed through the 21. So the 50-week moving average is probably it could create our first level of support. But as you can see, that's at about 113 or something. So that's one idea. This will likely be support because we created so much strength here. In fact, so much that I'll mark it on the chart. These 2 points here have created fabulous support. So if I go to daily, you can see how it was resistance and flipped to support, and that's what started this run. So this beautiful handoff where you break it, bounce off of it, and then you launch, like that is fabulous. And then this right here gets pretty messy. Like we touched our line twice, and then now we've struggled, and there hasn't been a lot of guidance because we didn't have too many points to bounce off of. So we just fell through our 200-day moving average. So it's our 50 and this bottom line that are our real support. But even so, these coins are emotional. If by chance that this most recent run pops us above 170, like if we move above 170, then there's a decent chance that our trend may have changed, but we don't buy above 170. What you'd want to do is you'd want to wait for it to do whatever it's going to do and have its first turn, because when we're changing momentum, especially after a solid decline, there's generally a couple of zigzags before we find enough ground and convince investors that we're moving forward. So we would watch this, and then we would wait for the turn. The turn would likely bottom here or here. So wherever you feel like entering, that would be a sensible place to do it. So I have a couple of other coins. I'm going to skip them and maybe catch them on another video, just because this one's getting a little bit long. But there was a request to take a look at Tron, and so I kind of wanted to go ahead and do that. So when I did a video on Tron, it was months ago. Well, let's see. No, it was like a month ago. It wasn't too long ago. But what what we had talked about is that this line is definitely going to be something that investors would be interested in. This line is always this will come into play in the future. And did it? It absolutely did. It bounced off of this line, but because we had come down from such a high point, there was just too much emotion. Too many people had lost money that they facilitated this panic sell. Sensible investors bought here, but even this, there just wasn't enough buying power to change this. So now what is Tron doing, right? So if this was a bottom, and then we created a lower low, when your next lower low is not significantly lower than your next low, you can tell that the bears are running out of steam. People are loving Tron, and it shows in the chart, because if people were still afraid even after this move, our next move would have been it would have been consistent with this. Not as drastic, but it would have been, we would have probably touched down here or here, because there would have been no change in this sell-off. The fact that we turned the corner here and it was so close to this bottom here, it shows that investors are getting a little more confident on a bullish scenario. As you can see, today we flipped back into a green zone. That is positive. The only thing to be careful of is that because this line was broken, in the next day or two, we're going to want to see if we can actually break above it. The challenge, again, just like the last coin, is that this is our new resistance. And if we get rejected off of this and we stay below this, it'll still take a few more zigzags before we can generate some momentum. So this will take some patience. But if we can break above it, this line will likely flip to support. And if we can break above it, our buying, our get back in if you've exited, would be right on top of this line. So I hope that helps. There are everything, coins don't have to follow the rules. They don't always have to follow everything exactly, but there are enough investors that watch these specific points that they will a lot of times will make the same decision at the same time, and that's what moves markets and changes momentum. So if you can be aware of them and anticipate them, it can absolutely make a difference in your trading. So best of luck, and we'll catch you on the next one. Oh, last thing, feel free to request any other coins. If you're interested in a coin and you want to know where you think it might be headed or what to watch for, I'd be happy to do a review on those as well. Okay, we'll talk to you tomorrow, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging on till the end of the video. If you liked anything I said, please support the channel by subscribing. If not, feel free to leave a comment and I'd be happy to take a look and make improvements to the channel so it'll be better next time.